All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Chopping It Up. I'm your host Ryan Went, and today I got Hayden the Hurricane Malcolm. How you doing today, sir?
Good, sir. How are you? And nice to have me. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm super excited for this broadcast or this podcast, man. And the reason I'm super excited for it is because no one knows anything about you. It's like you've just kind of been floating underneath the radar. I mean, during racing, are you I think I've seen you a couple times in the Discord, but you don't ever talk.
Mhm.
What are you just? Is there a strategy behind that? Or are you just not a big people person, or you hate everybody in the Discord? What's the deal there, man?
Nah, man. I'm just very quiet. I'm just very introverted sometimes. Sometimes I just have to keep things to myself, and sometimes I just have nothing interesting to say.
I mean, even if you get upset during the race, you don't just want to be like, "God damn it, you guys, you all suck! Quit running into me! Get out of my way!" No, I mean nothing. You just don't let them flare up.
I mean, there'll be sometimes I'll probably do that, but I just kind of understand the rules of trying not to call someone out, and I sometimes just let it go past me and just kind of move on.
Right? Where are you located? How old are you? I mean, kind of just feed us in on who is Hayden Malcolm.
Yes. So I'm 30 years old. I race out of Amarillo, Texas. So I'm just up there close to the central of the Panhandle, which is kind of unfamiliar with racing and such sort. So it's kind of want to be part of it.
How old
So
are you?
30.
You're 30. Yeah, so I mean, you're the medium age for everybody in here. I think we had a poll up. How old
Mhm.
everybody is. Is that when we throw the polls up there, or even the poll reviews? I mean, are you the kind of guy that just kind of steers away from that stuff, or I mean, are you actively participating? Just nobody knows about it.
No, yeah, I do participate. Yeah, I do participate in the polls too. Um, just whenever I have the time, just kind of look over, see if you know if the things are just differently from each other, or hopefully that makes sense.
No, yeah, no, it does. So you're 30 years old. You're out of Amarillo, Texas.
Hmm.
I'm familiar with the area. Desert, 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 desert.
Yeah,
You're.
it's not much of a desert right now. As we're doing some kind of a little bit of snow.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
See, in Texas, I know you Texas boys don't like it when that snow comes down there. I was down there, what, 4 or 5 years ago when you guys had a really bad ice storm down Dallas,
Hmm.
and everybody was shutting down. It's like, nope.
Yeah,
If there's ice on the road or snow on the ground, Texas shuts down. They don't play that game.
yeah. It's a Yeah, especially like during that time, it's pretty concerning up here because because the region that we're in that we're known for is wind energy. So people are kind of fearing like like if the wind turns like if the turbines shut down, then we're kind of in the mess. So but it just be sometimes that we Texans kind of overreacting about some stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so a few questions just off the top of
Mhm.
the head.
Sure.
What do you do for a living?
So I am a I'm an operations manager of a little burger joint that serves our local community or local university down in Kane, Texas, where I'm where I'm usually from, but I'm basing out of Emerald, Texas,
So I mean,
and
if a guy were to fly down there like a fat guy, I don't know, by the name of Ryan,
mhm.
something like that. I mean, you could hook him up with a few burgers, right?
Yeah, man, yeah, I mean, we could do that for you. But
Yeah,
w-
that's
but
what.
what but what makes our little joint so different from for like any other joints is because our university has like a little meat lab. Yeah, that they bring in like animals to slaughter and and get their meats and whatnot. So all of our burgers are locally sourced meat from our meat lab.
That's that's really intricate, actually. Like I couldn't imagine what actually goes into, you know. testing out the meats,
Hmm.
whether they're to per restaurant standards, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. So that's actually that's different, man. I've never met anybody
Mhm.
that that has to go through that process. That's cool.
Yeah, it's because of that. It's because of that. It kind of mixes kind of like one of the most popular joints on campus. Is because the meat's kind of different from like from supplier meats or whatnot.
So poll is it
Mhm.
better or is it worse?
Oh, oh, for me it's better.
It's better. And
Hmm.
so is it on like a university campus then?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. It's just kind of like on a little bit of on the northeast corner of the campus.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's on campus, uh, but it's inside like a little. It's inside of our agricultural building. So we do tend to get a lot of businesses, and that's what makes us pretty popular around the campus than like anywhere else.
Hmm. That's pretty sweet. Couple other fire offs. Wife, kids, single, bachelor, widowed. What's the story?
Totally single, man.
Totally. Listen, brother, you're 30 years old in Amarillo. Got a sweet gig. It sounds like single. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be wasting time podcasting with me. I'd be out chasing tail. But
I
the
mean,
the bank account obviously probably looks pretty sweet. Hey.
it is now. It is now when they got promotion like a few months ago. So this is all fine and dandy.
Oh, congratulations.
Mhm.
Was this position something that you had to go to school for and get a degree, or you just kind of roll into it and work your way up?
Uh, it just it's just kind of some circumstances kind of led me to work there. Because I used to work at our city's Parks and Recreation department. That was a that was a pretty fun job, but just some circumstances just kind of prevented that from going any farther. So that's why I ended up over here at what I'm doing right now.
Were you born and raised in Texas? I mean,
Hmm.
been there your whole life?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Lived here my whole life.
Any plans on leaving?
No, no, not really. Because usually people like to leave around. Usually people like here like to leave for for any type of reasons. But for me, I'm just familiar with this. I'm just familiar with everything around here. It just feels more like home to me.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause-
I could fully understand that because I moved from Iowa down to Florida, and it's a big adjustment. So I get
yeah.
being comfortable at home, just staying at home and doing your thing. But Texas is also a gigantic state. I know from southern to northern, I think it's like 8.5, 9 hour drive.
Hmm.
East
Yeah.
to west, I'm not even familiar, but I'm assuming it's probably about the same time distance, isn't it?
So what was the
To,
question again?
to drive across the entire state. I mean, that probably takes a good 8 hours too, doesn't it?
Uh, that's what I heard. Yeah, it's probably about 8 or 9 hours from. Let's probably say from like El Paso to like Texarkana, maybe.
Right.
It's probably more than that. But
Yeah.
it's
So
like yeah.
yeah, I mean, so you got plenty of state. Like if you did want to move around,
Hmm.
there's thousands and thousands of towns, that you
Yes.
can kind of float around. Which, hey, man, so you got that going for you. You got
Hmm.
a stacked bank account. You got which man, you're living every man's dream right now. There's a lot of us
Yeah.
that not that we regret ever having kids, but we probably postponed to the point. Well, we could just wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So, good for
Yeah.
you.
That's basically what I'm doing. Is just kind of want to wait for like another 5 or 6 years, or until I get kind of familiar or comfortable with like financial wise, so I can support.
Yeah, I understand that. I see a couple hubcaps back there,
Hmm.
up against your wall. Is that a Mustang hubcap?
Let's see. I think so. I think so. That was a project that I had to do in one of my community colleges.
Okay.
So actually, if you can't really see it, it's kind of it's a clock.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, looking back there, not trying to snoop too much, but
Are you good?
your rig, man. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go over your rig here. What are we rocking for pedals, steering wheel, shifter, mics, the whole shebang?
Yeah,
Lead us through that.
sure thing. So as you see, my rig's pretty makeshift. It's kind of made out of like shelving units or whatnot. So you see, it has the steel frames and have I kind of finagled it all by myself. So I have a steel frames with you see as a tray for the hold my steering wheel
It's
and
awesome.
mhm, a 32-inch TLC TV supported by socket power and I just got these last week I got these new set of steering wheels and pedals by PXN or PXN excuse me
You're right.
V10. So I've been working out with those quite a bit and it's kind of what I needed. It's kind of what I needed
It,
to get that feel.
on your little, it looks like a stepping stool that you got set up
Yes,
over there. Does
yes,
that have a
yes,
button box and everything?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got two button boxes in my shifter.
That's awesome.
So yes, sir. So it's kind of it's makeshift for what I could pretty much I could pretty much put together was all I had.
No, hey man, and I totally get it. If you ever seen Brian Rayburn's setup, your jaw would hit the floor. I don't
Yeah,
know how he races on what he races on.
yeah,
Yours is like a Cadillac compared to his Geo Metro.
yeah,
Nothing against you, Rayburn. If you're watching it, brother, we all love you. Listen.
yeah,
He's a freak of nature, is what he is. No, I
yeah.
always
So
like to get the insight of everybody's setups.
I
I
got
don't
you.
know if you've watched all the podcasts, but Bigger, he
Hmm.
wins a lot, and his is a fold up unit.
Yeah,
So it's like, wow,
yeah.
you don't have to have the greatest equipment to do really well in this stuff.
Ah man, we got Mitchell Bickard again.
Yeah, that's my boy,
Ah,
bud.
I I understand, but he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool to learn from, and it's pretty cool that he's able to do that with a float up rig.
Oh yeah. What let's kind of focus our attention to
Hmm.
you're a single guy, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that you have a lot of spare time to really do whatever you want to do with your time, um, without having too much of a family obligation. What led you into racing? Is this something you've always grown up loving cars, or you just kind of fell into it?
Actually, uh, actually, how I got into racing is kind of interesting story. So so my late granddad, he used to work for Snap on. He used to be a Snap on dealer in Amarillo. So I can't believe I can remember this vigorously. But so I think one day he was at a parking lot. By the time it was just me and my little cousin who were born right now, or who were born. So so he needs some help cleaning out his tow truck, and it was just it's just like this long tow trucks. Uh, so he's in there very back, kind of cleaning everything out, and he brought out this little diecast, this 124-inch diecast car, and he said, "Go ahead. So you want this? You want to take it?" And it appears out to be appears out to be Dell Junior's 2000 rookie car. So so I went ahead, so I just took it, and then I was just, and like a year later, I was just kind of curious if it was like really, really existed. So so I turned on TV and appears like it does, and then I saw Dell Jr.'s name across the ticker on the running order, and then it was there about 2003. This one started watching it full time for supporting Dell Jr. all the way until he retired.
So you're telling me that you were pretty much oblivious to racing
Yeah.
until you got this little diecast car, and
Hmm.
you were just like, I wonder if this guy still races, type of thing. You look it up,
Yeah.
he is racing.
Mhm.
did it just hook you right then and there watching the race?
Hmm. Oh, oh yeah, because yeah, especially in 2003, because Junior was kind of he was kind of early in his career. He was actually well, I thought was pretty good by that time. So yeah, so I was just a young kid. I just didn't know anything about sports. I didn't know that NASCAR existed or NFL, NBA. So yeah, so just just this what got me hooked onto NASCAR, and 2003 is where it pretty much kicked off my passion for it.
That's wild, man. I've never heard anybody. See, and this is what I love doing this, man, right? Cuz
Hmm.
like it you just never know the kind of people that you're going to fall into. Me, on the other hand, like I grew up in it. Like it was just
Right.
that's what we did on Sundays, you know?
Hmm.
So it's wild to me that like somebody like you didn't even know it existed, you know, because
Hmm.
it's a huge sport.
Yeah.
That being said, you know, when you getting into it, I mean, I'm assuming you still watch it to this day every Sunday and just
Oh. Oh yeah, for sure. That's for sure. You know how because like around where I'm at, football's religion, and but for my household, NASCAR's religion. So no, so when it comes to Sunday, I usually have the tactic of like every like when it's a few hours before race day, just don't do anything, don't do anything until race day begins, or and and until after race ends, you can just go on with your rest of your day, and
so so I would assume it's safe to say any ladies out there that got their eyes on you, they better like some NASCAR.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean,
I
how
mean,
else are
if
you
they
going?
want to.
That'd be a hell of a date, you know. Like, hey, let's go Texas Motor Speedway and go watch a race.
Hey, I'd be fine with it as long as they don't go for a driver. But I don't go again, or let's just say like as long as they don't go for a driver that I'm not against.
So, okay, let's breed into that a little bit. So, top threes and top non threes, I guess. Who's your top three favorite drivers, and who's the bottom three that you cannot stand?
All right, so girls, as I mentioned, my all-time favorite is Dale Jr. But since now he's retired, so I've gone to Alex Bowman, and I'll probably put Blaney or Blaney Truex as kind of my third. So and then as for my despise right now has be Danny Hamlin. Because yeah, because you mentioned you're a Larson fan, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Hamlin's kind of for me too because he and Bowman have had run-ins before. Some were kind of Hamlin's fault. Um, so yeah, so second. I kind of had to pick Kyle Busch, but he's he's kind of laying off of me for a little bit. Um, and the third one is probably Bubba Wallace.
Hey, that's not a bad three to despise, but you do know who in our group is a Bush fan.
Oh yeah, it was John, isn't it?
Yeah, it is John. John
Because
like John likes some
I watched
Bush.
the first episode. Yeah.
John, you hear this, buddy? Hayden don't care if you like him or not. He does it. You know, and my bottom three was always Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, and Joey Logano. Before that, like for some
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
reason, I could not stand Greg Biffle. There was just something about I just didn't like his name. Like Biffle. What kind of stupid name is that? Like I hate that guy.
The Biff.
But
Um,
I love Kyle Larson. He's done a lot for the sport in so many positive ways due to his negative activities. And there's in my eyes, there's not a lot of people that can do that. And like you
true.
said, Junior is a perfect example. Junior is a good person to get involved in the sport with, just because
Yeah.
his old man and the history behind the whole Earnhardt family.
Hmm.
What would
Yeah. This.
Uh,
Sorry.
no, you're all right. I mean,
Yeah. So,
have you ever been to an actual race?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I've done like 4 or 5 times that Texas Motor Speedway, and in and I used and back when back in the Bush days, I went to Colorado at Pikes Peak. So so I'll probably say about and also I also recently went to Nashville. So I've probably been about 6 or 7 races, maybe.
Dang me. Hey, listen, and that's the crazy part about learning about individuals. You know, you had a
Hmm.
very late bringing up into the sport to where like
Yeah.
guys like me had a really early bringing into it. And believe this or
Hmm.
not, I've never been to an actual NASCAR race. I've been to a couple Xfinity races, but I've never
Hmm.
been to a NASCAR race. And here you are, you're like, buddy, been 6 or 7 of them bad boys.
Hmm.
The question
Now
is,
we
oh, go ahead.
sorry. Now we said like exchange races or like standalone races or was like or just like the whole weekend together.
So in Iowa, when Rusty Wallace built our
Oh
track,
wow.
I mean the
Hmm.
Xfinity series were the only ones really racing there.
Right. Right.
You know, I watched the what was it, the Indy Corn 250 or some shit like
Hmm.
that. You know, and watching
Yeah.
the Indy cars is real cool, but it's really boring just because they have some like they have like an overpower. They did. I don't know if it's the
Hmm.
same, but they used to have an overpower button, and they could only push it like
Hmm.
3 times. So like all
Right.
the cars were so equal that the only way to get around somebody was to push that overpower button. But
Hmm.
you only got to push it so many times, and then you were
Right.
kind of SOL. So you had to make that move
Hmm.
right at the right time. So obviously a lot's changed
Um.
since then.
Yeah. Oh man, you should have seen some IndyCar races at Texas. I mean, it's kind of the reverse of plate racing almost because they're a little bit closer together, and just let the runs that they make to try to pass each other is just so crazy. You won't believe like how close they are to each other when you like kind of look at them closely.
Well, and I used to drive a truck, so I've driven past Texas very a lot. I mean, because it's right off
Hmm.
the interstate, it's not hard to miss.
Yeah.
Have you been there during a night race? Because I think that would just be phenomenal, dude.
Hmm. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. A couple of times.
I'm
Yes, sir.
jealous.
A couple of times.
I
Yeah.
I am jealous. That hey man, that's awesome. So you getting into racing when you did that ever open up any other avenues for you when it comes to the racing community? I mean, did you ever watch dirt racing, boat racing, airplane racing? I mean, did you just fall in love with racing in general, or did you just like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna stick with my NASCAR?
Oh, and I mean, it made me like love racing in general because I because there'll be like a couple of times where me and my brother will uh, go to a little couple of short track races in Amarillo to watch some races. We have a we have like a small track and also a kind of like a as they call it 3/8 track,
Mhm.
all both dirt. So whatever the time is best, we just go out there and watch them. And for TV wise, so I just kind of watch a little bit of dirt racing TV wise, but I usually watch kind of mostly paved series. So, I won't watch. I mean, I watch only like I won't watch like only like NASCAR, but I also watch like ARCA or ARCA, IndyCar, just whatever just whatever I see on TV. I just want to watch.
Man, that's so neat. And you said your brother went with you. Did you kind of drag him into that lifestyle?
He, yeah, I think I think it's like the second time that we. I think it's like the second time that that he was allowed to, or that he was allowed to, come with us to watch races because he's kind of like he's 10 years younger than me. So it'd be like 2004 was kind of like his second year because he was kind of matured or 2004 or five where somewhere around there. So yeah, so when he first saw the races, he did get hooked on it. He did get hooked on it. Excuse me.
So I want to keep going backwards here a little bit, just so I get the whole picture
Hmm.
of your early life here.
Sure.
When you said your uncle had the Snap-on truck, gave you the
Uh,
diecast.
like granddad.
Your granddad. I apologize.
There you
Gave you the diecast car, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna look into it, and you started watching it, right?
go. Hmm.
Assuming that you didn't know anything about it, I'm guessing that your parents weren't really into it because I would assume that would kind
Yeah.
of bled over. What did your parents think when you were just like, I want to watch NASCAR this Sunday? I want to watch NASCAR this Sunday. I mean, were they supportive? Did they start getting
Hmm.
into it? How'd that all transition?
Yeah. Yeah. So as soon as I got racing, they kind of started to see that I was pretty passionate about it, and I just want to start watching it, every Sunday. Um, so things have kind of I should say that we'll just say that they kind of knew that I wanted to be passionate about me, or they wanted to, or they saw that I was pretty passionate about watching them uh, every week. And it probably wasn't until like maybe like figures there, then my dad started getting into it.
So, I mean, is he still into it then to this day?
Oh yes, oh yeah,
So you guys,
yeah, yeah.
you guys, you guys ever have like a weekend get together where you just kind of all sit down, and make a good lunch, and watch a little NASCAR?
We'll do that occasionally because we sometimes don't really do it because I'm also like a Cowboys fan. So how like Cowboys fans are is like they're very passionate, and sometimes that's pretty much me. Every time when there's like a bad day, I just go crazy, and it's probably not the safest place for people to be around.
That is
I
awesome.
try to do much. I try to do much as I can to control it, but but it just just for the drivers you have to instead I go for it. It's Junior Bowman. It's like you see the potential in them. There's just sometimes just things just have to happen
Yep.
to kind of derail those days,
Yep.
and it's just, you know it just gets really frustrating. It's just not fun sometimes.
No, I totally agree with you. And like last year was not Bowman's year. I mean, he struggled
No,
a lot. Chase Elliott, the same way. And I'm not a Chase Elliott fan. I think he's a crybaby. Um,
I'm not either.
it's one of those things like he was on top of the world till Larson came, and then there was a new
Yeah,
sheriff in town type of thing. And Bowman, I think Bowman kind of flies under the radar for the most part. I think he's extremely underestimated because and
yeah,
he's a smooth driver. He just
yeah,
he needs to have a year like Byron had for people to start appreciating him.
yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. No, no, I could kind of take I could kind of move from last year because I know that because probably like a very injuries become more serious than like a leg injury. So I so he probably Bowman just didn't have the feel for the next gen. But yeah, but I think I agree with you. I think Bowman is under the radar. He's mentioned that he's fine being like that. But man, it's just he's got to have some luck too.
Did
He's
did
got to have some luck and some good people around him to try to make that car work.
well, and I mean, dude, he has the best team out in NASCAR. I mean, when you're with
Yeah.
Hendrick, you're at the peak. The only downside to that is if you don't perform, they'll find
Mhm.
somebody that will.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and he just even when he wins, it's just he won a race here, he won a race there, and
Yeah.
it's nothing to really get jazzed about for whatever reason. I mean, maybe it's because he hasn't made himself a playoff contender yet. Maybe that's why he's not going as noticed as he should. But I mean, I like Bowman. I think I would compare Bowman to Iceman off of Top Gun. Like he doesn't make a ton of
Hmm.
mistakes. It's just like you
Yeah.
said, it never goes the way he needs it to go. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's go to
Yeah.
we're into racing now. You're into
Mhm.
NASCAR. You're watching it. How in the world did you even figure out that there's an iRacing world out there of simulated racing?
Yeah. Uh, so it's probably from Junior because Junior has mentioned like iRacing a lot because I know because I've heard him mention quite bad things about like online racing, which which he mentioned he met like TJ Majors from the early process of online racing. So yeah, so that's why I heard iRacing was from Junior, and I just want to I just want to try it out because I spent so many years playing like console gamings. I mean, I play like console games like almost every day when I go home from school, and I just feel like I just got so good at it. I just kind of want to do a different challenge to see what see if iRacing really does feel like that real life racing, and it kind of does, to extent.
Well, I mean, and if you compare it to a console, it's a night and day difference.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
best NASCAR console game you remember playing?
Ooh, oh man, that was at the early NASCAR Thunder games. So like 2003, four, and all the way up to the Chase for the Cup in 2005. Those were pretty fun games. I played those a bunch, and also like NASCAR Dirt to Daytona was pretty fun to play as well. I played that almost the whole day of the summer. Um, yeah, so that was just my thing. I just go home, just race, just just guns games, just race and race and race until it came nighttime. Try again the next time again.
Yeah, I remember like probably my favorite one was like NASCAR '09. I don't know what it was about that year for me, anyways. I and I didn't. I got out of the whole campaign crap. I wanted to race online. That was my whole goal, is to race against other people, because the AIs can only do so much. So I get it. Hey, there he is. Well, dude, you hold the record for the longest disconnect.
Sorry about that. It's just crazy things. By the snow, shut the whole damn state down.
Yeah. I didn't even
So
think
yeah,
about that now.
yeah, yeah. So I'm now behind my rig. So just finish off from there.
Hey, no problem. Um, if I remember right, because
Mhm.
it's been like 20 minutes. Hold on here. Or it's been 30 minutes. I gotta make notes here. All right. Um, so I know when to cut everything out. So what I was saying is you were getting into iRacing. You
Mhm.
got into iRacing by hearing Dale Jr. talk about it online.
Mhm.
What was your first initial thought when you started realizing like how much this stuff actually cost? Because it's not cheap by any
No.
means. Even then, what do you remember what year you initially got on iRacing? I haven't looked at your profile, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I joined in August of 2019. So and yeah. So when I first learned about iRacing, I looked everything up, see what I need for it, and I was pretty surprised of how much it cost because 'cause they had to buy the membership along with the with mostly the computer, the wheels and pedals. So it was just mind boggling. So luckily after my birthday, that my parents can help me. I'll just buy a PC, and then I used some of my money to earn the wheels and pedals and in the TV and all the button boxes and whatnot. So it's pretty crazy of how much that is compared to like buying for console gamings.
Oh yeah, and I'm a firm believer that it's almost, if you're going to do it,
Mhm.
start out small and
Yeah.
see what your thought process is behind it, and then go from, if you're going to be in it for the long haul,
Mhm.
go. You might as well buy everything your little heart desires, and if you're
Yeah.
perfectly happy playing on a shelf system, by all means play on a shelf
Mhm.
system. But if you
Yeah.
want the latest and greatest, it's just money. Can't take it with us when we die
Yeah.
anyways, you know what I mean?
Right.
um
Yeah.
so coming in 2019, I'm assuming you did 90% series races. That's kind of how 90% everybody starts out.
Mhm.
What led you on to the whole league racing thing? How'd you hear about Chop Shop? How'd you get involved with Chop Shop?
Sure. Um, so how I got to league racing is like I ran like a couple leagues, but I didn't really do like too many starts, so I just kind of got kicked off. So so how I got to uh, Chop Shop is because um, I was just how you do with official races, you just kind of get sick of it for a while. So so you kind of do a little bit of hosted races. So uh, so that kind of gets little bit. I don't know. It kind of varies. So for league racing is uh, when I first heard of Chop Shop is because one night or pretty much like every night I just go through the leagues, look for races or look for a lead or uh, broadcast it mostly because that was kind of my motivation was kind of start small. If I feel like if I feel like I'm comfortable, I got better. I want to do broadcast racing. So that's when I found out about Chop Shop because I said the info because it had everything in the info that suited my needs. so I applied and and thank goodness for John and Stryker that they're pretty lenient on their I rating and stuff who they accept. So so I just they accepted my invitation. I joined, and so I'm now almost in this league for almost a year, which is kind of hard to believe.
Time goes by quick too.
Mm-hmm.
Have have you noticed yourself grow as a better iRacing driver, since being with Chop Shop and going, periodically I think we all
Mm-hmm.
go do a league race here and there. I mean, have you seen improvements in your capabilities since joining?
I Yeah, I feel I improve. I'm improving slightly. Um, it's just because I'm now getting familiar of how I felt every races around a league. Uh, yeah, it's just right now just kind of working on of how to get the right feel for what I'm driving, especially with the NASCAR cars because those are very different cars from like the street stocks or late models. So it's been kind of a big learning curve. It's just trying to just trying to learn how each car races and uh, how comfortable would be using them to race around each other around people. Um, so yeah, yeah. So I find myself kind of slightly. I'm still working on it.
Oh, I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change, man. Like
Yeah.
we're always trying to improve. I will
Mhm.
I will give you a good tidbit of advice. Don't be scared to mic up and ask questions when it
Yeah.
comes to like one of the biggest things here is the settings. If your settings aren't crisp or as crisp as they can be or should be or whatever, to
Mhm.
your style, man, Striker's extremely knowledgeable. John's extremely
Yeah.
knowledgeable, especially, if you ever upgrade to like triple screens, they have all the settings for all
Yeah.
that stuff. And if you just load into it, it just throws you all out of whack because your eyes are paying attention here, paying
Mhm.
attention there, and you want it
Yep.
focused in here, and you want your peripherals to pay attention over there.
Right.
So that's awesome.
Mhm.
um, so running in Chop Shop, I know you run trucks.
Mhm.
Um, I don't keep an eye on everybody. You're a quiet cat, man. No one knows anything about you. That's the problem. We don't know. I don't even know what all the series you race in. Like, do you race dirt? Do you race the road
Mhm.
course? Do you race super lates?
uh, no, I just pretty much raced the NASCAR cars. So
Okay.
uh, last year last year I raced the cup cars kind of sporadically, but I think I made like probably 11 starts in those cars. Um, course, because I started out in the league in the Xfinity series. So yeah, so I'm just kind of going in between, just trying to get some seat time. But I'm mostly kind of really focused on is trying to use the track series as kind of like a tool, especially kind of learn how to which my weaknesses is trying to learn how to just tire save or tire management, which so which I because as I figured out, 'cause I'm kind of low in the points anyways. Just kind of hang around the bad, just kind of learn how to tire save, and just kind of follow guys. Let's say kind of like maybe like Roberge or just whoever. Just kind of follow them up, see how they do their stuff, and so I hope we could translate that to the Cup Series, which I plan on trying to run mostly. So yeah, so I'll basically do like all the pay series and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, do you feel like you're getting your money's worth?
Yeah, yes I do. Yes I do.
That I mean,
Because
that's the important part on as an admin of the group. That's like John always says, man. Like, yeah, tempers are going to flare, and they definitely flared at Daytona, 100%.
yeah,
Which was kind of really out of the ordinary for us. Most of the
hmm
time you'll get the same guys that will bitch and complain,
hmm
but this time, I mean, you had admins complaining even, and that's just not
yeah,
typical at all. So obviously there was something wrong, something
hmm
we had
hmm
to adjust and assess and take care as a whole.
right,
And I think if we're not having fun, we're not doing it right.
right,
I mean, everybody should enjoy their time. Obviously, plate
hmm
racing brings out the worst in everybody. I had a hell of a night, that night,
hmm
and I typically on a plate track, I mean, I still finished 10th,
hmm
but I didn't get to compete for the win that I wanted.
right,
So I fully understand, that I guess I ain't gonna say that, but I always want to ensure everybody feels like they're getting their bang for the buck, right?
hmm
I mean,
right,
we're doing it for fun, and there's actual money being spent, obviously, to keep everything running to be fun. So I
right.
like to hear your insight, whether or not it was worth it, which is great. What What do you think? Is there a group of drivers? Because I'll be honest,
hmm
I see you in the back quite a bit, and I don't know if you're qualifying. I don't know if you're just starting in the back to learn.
hmm
Yeah, especially in the truck series, man. That's a hard area to start in the back because we have 40
Yeah,
drivers. I mean, there's a ton of
yeah.
dudes.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah.
are you starting to figure out, like who you want to run next to and who you don't want to be near? Because obviously everybody has their own driving style.
hmm Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of yeah. I've been kind of been mostly starting from the back in some races because it kind of depends on if there's a track I haven't been to with that type of truck or car or whatever. Is that I just still starting the back so I can learn, again how to feel around cars because there'll probably be sometimes where I don't feel, while I'm practicing, I don't know how my car's going to react to starting like in midfield. So yeah, so I've been mostly starting the back, which I'm kind of starting to learn is not really the best thing,
No, it
but
isn't.
especially for the truck series. But yeah, so I'll kind of see my guy. So I like in terms of competition, I really don't feel like I'm like making people. I'm not making like enemies out of anybody. So I try to do my best to race them clean. But like competition wise, I kind of see myself, or I kind of been like around guys probably like Church or Desuna or this anybody else. This who kind of put as my baseline of who I kind of want to run near, or who I kind of want to beat. This is the sign of hopefully as a way to show that I'm making some improvements and stuff like that.
Who who's one of the guys in the league that you think that you can relate to most skill based that you can see that's trying to improve or is improving that you kind of want to kind of go up that ladder with?
Mhm. Um, as I mentioned, probably like like the Suna. Uh, so I think he's probably within the same rating range, probably like 13 to 1500 somewhere around there. Uh, so I'm like 1450. So they kind of really motivates me of trying to kind of motivates me of trying to be better, just kind of outrun him. But just go work. It's just work in progress.
Well, I could tell you one thing. If Church was in here right now, the
Hmm.
first thing he's going to say, I rating don't mean nothing.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously in league racing, it doesn't.
No.
Because I feel like for the most part, I can get around to Suna just fine. Um,
Hmm.
but I overdrive my truck a lot. I overdrive a lot
Hmm.
of vehicles a lot. I'm trying to, I know what, I think it's a confidence thing, right? So, like, when you're
Yeah.
running with these guys, because, I mean, the Chop Shop boys are nasty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they are good.
Oh yeah.
So I think if you can run mid pack or even get in
Hmm.
the top 10, you're on to
Yeah.
something. And I think
Right.
here lately I've been seeing a lot of that out of you because you'll be in the back 90% of the race, but near the end you're starting to get in the teens, and it's like, man, where the hell did Malcolm come from? Like, I haven't seen him all day, and now he's up here running with us, which is awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. But yeah. But most of it has been lately has been attrition because I've been comping a lot of wrecks, and I just don't want to quit. I just want to keep running, just try to get everything I can for out of free positions if I can. So so when it comes to track stuff, I feel like I'm more comfortable to qualify in. I'll qualify. It was just I want to see how I do from there.
Are you utilizing our practice sessions?
uh, yeah, yes I am.
Good. Because that gives you all the weather variations, so it's going to be
Mhm.
identical to what the race is going to be. So
Right.
I mean, I always encourage. I'm horrible at it myself. I
Mhm.
don't participate in all the practice sessions, and when I do, I'm like, I just come in with a sense of confidence. Like, man, I just ran 120 laps here, practicing.
Right.
I know what the tires are going to do. Whether or not
Mhm.
I can put that in the race or not is obviously a completely different thing altogether.
Yeah.
Um, What out of curiosity, what has been your best finish in our league races?
Um, Out of the whole leagues, I say six at Kansas in the Cup Series last season.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, or no, I'm sorry, no. Fifth at Talladega last season because I avoided like a wreck. It was like behind y'all, and well, I got part of it, but I was somehow able to make it through to get fifth. So yeah, so it kind of gives me some confidence down. I have the potential to run up the top 10 if I can have things go my way and stuff like that.
Do you, do you ever find it, because I know I did, I just want your 2 cents. Do you ever find it difficult, especially on plate races, to find
Mhm.
people that is willing to work with you since, and nothing against you, it's not a skill
Yeah,
thing, just no one knows you, no one ever talks to you. Like,
yeah,
do you find it harder that people don't work with you?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tend to have try to find someone I can work with, someone I know who's fast, who's pretty good. But yeah, there's that thing where I don't get that much help. Um,
You know,
I think it's probably because I just trying to be more probably probably need to be more vocal about it. I guess I'm not too sure.
No, man, and I mean everybody has their things. There's a lot of people that like Retchin.
Hmm.
Retchin is a fast guy, and
Yeah,
I love racing with Retchin because Retchin won't give you an inch, and it makes you better when somebody runs you that hard. And that's
yeah,
I've learned a lot from those guys. Like my idea of running hard versus
mhm,
their idea of running hard was
mhm,
completely opposite. So I'm like, man, I gotta step my game up. I suck.
yeah, right, yeah,
so I'll tell you right now, after this podcast and everybody watches it, I mean, there's going to be quite a few people you're going to see, when we do go to Talladega or Atlanta. You're going to start feeling bumpers. People are going to start
Yeah.
working with you because, you're kind of like, hey, man, like I'm a cool cat.
Mhm.
I'm here. I can hold a line. Obviously holding the line's the
Yeah.
biggest deal you can possibly get. If you can't hold, no one's going to push you.
Yeah.
And I have that problem still. Church has that problem. There's a
Mhm.
lot of us that have that problem. That there's days we hold a line great, days we don't hold a line great. So
Yeah.
I mean, just keep focusing
Mhm.
on that. What do you think your best track is in the series?
Um, I'll probably say like the cookie cutters, so like kind of like Kansas or kind of Kansas, Vegas, or Chicagoland. But right now it's been mostly like right now it's been mostly Kansas because no, it's like because in my first time experience series, I found myself third at one point before before I got myself loose and wrecked, and then sixth place last season in the Cup Series. So I'm kind of looking forward to Kansas everywhere I go.
You know, and that's cool. You're always talking about starting in the back and learning from
Mhm.
guys. I don't ever suggest following me because one day I'll be phenomenal, the next day I'll be horrible. Just to throw that out there. I mean, I think like overall, I've come a long ways very
Mhm.
quickly, but I did this before too, so I had an idea. It's just everything changed with progressing. This is
Mhm.
my thought. I think
Mhm.
you should participate more in the Chop Shop Discord, just for the simple fact that you could be like, man, this my tires are chewed up, and
Mhm.
if somebody's like, hey man, where are you braking at, where are you lifting at, and they just tell you to
Yeah.
back that corner up a little bit. Believe it or not,
Mhm.
that's been my biggest advantage is backing the corner up, not getting ran
Yeah.
over if you can help it, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
having a better exit. But like you said, in the trucks, when you got 40 trucks out there, it's
Mhm.
very easily to get ran into. Jerry Culver's a good example. He's a good driver. You
Yeah.
can't you can't knock Jerry at all. I trust Jerry. I have no problem running around Jerry. But
Mhm.
just this last week, he ran right through me when I was checking up for a wreck. It
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things I think you need. Once you get to know these guys better on a personal level,
Mhm.
you'll start gaining that trust and that camaraderie to
Yeah.
be able to run side by side with them, and you'll know they'll end up giving you more, man. That's the best thing I could say. Instead of pinching you down on the bottom, they'll end up giving you extra space to where you can get that runoff and be more competitive.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely take that advice.
Um, out of our league racing, let's just talk internal chop shop stuff.
Okay.
What's your likes and dislikes, man? Like, I mean, you really don't voice an opinion. You say you
Mhm.
vote for the polls, but I in all honesty, I can't remember a time I actually seen you pop up in chat or even voice your concerns. So walk us through that. I mean, if you got something on your chest, man, this
Mhm.
go ahead and spit it out. You're not going to get in trouble, obviously.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
Actually, uh, actually, I have no issues with the league. I kind of like where it is. I like I like that John and Striker are doing everything that they can to uh, to promote this league, to promote this league, such as doing broadcast races. Why not? And show that we can be clean drivers and try to bring more people into the cup into the league, especially mostly the Cup Series, because we had struggle with trying to get like 20 car fields, and after after we saw from Daytona, hopefully we could try to get more than 20 car fields each week. So so I think that the review poll is pretty good decision, because it is kind of hard to determine if it's a racing incident or who makes what move first or who started it first. And so we kind of need some good eyes to really figure that out. And then bringing up this podcast, I think is pretty good as well. So right now I'm liking everything that Chop Shop has. I really don't. see. Yeah, I really don't have a con with it, to be honest.
And that's awesome. It means we're doing something right as a collective group,
Mm-hmm.
and it's obviously this whole podcast platform is to learn about everybody. Like you said, you watch John's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us a lot. This is the guy that owns the league, that's been doing it longer than anybody in the league, like as for his league racing himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it took him 2 years to get a win,
Yeah.
which you automatically assume like, oh, he owns the league, so he's the best type of thing, and it's not always the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, this podcast was built for that reason, to get to know people individually, to understand where their thought process is. And it doesn't benefit you know John, Stryker, Odell, all the
Mm-hmm.
admins, as much as it benefits guys like you, which is the entire purpose of it. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side of that, it benefits you to learn about, like, oh, how'd Chop Shop start? What's his thought process going into it? Yada yada yada. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a well-rounded machine, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many views you get on your podcast, because like I said, you never talk, man. You gotta speak up, brother. Just go, at least go in there and say, "Ah, oh, screw you guys, you wrecked me," or anything. Give us a little life out of you, man.
Yeah. I I mean, I'll give it a try. I just need to remember that. I just need to remember to say it in the Discord, not on the race chat, because I know that I know that John has gone over people saying on race chat. So I mean, if I voice my displeasure, I mean, I will.
That a guy. Well, and I'm guilty of it. Tempers flare sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
John's guilty over it more than probably anybody in the league. And
Yeah.
that's the best part, is we hold everybody to a standard. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
if it's John, me, Stryker, Church, you.
Yeah.
You get treated just as well as John gets treated, and that's the bottom line, because the rules is the rules. I
Mm-hmm.
know there was a couple pit boards this last weekend that had some
Yeah.
some inappropriate images on it. We
Mm-hmm.
won't go into crazy detail. And Jason got on John's ass about it, and that's obviously that problem's been solved. Um,
Mm-hmm.
do you go back and because it sounds like broadcasting is important to you when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
racing. Is it important to you just to use it as a tool to watch the replay and learn you know
Mm-hmm.
what the guys up front that you're obviously that you don't get to see, or is it just one of those things you just like watching a race that you were a part of?
Yeah. So when it comes to broadcasting, is like, so I mean, I remember that the first time I saw myself on TV or on the broadcast, it was a very surreal moment because because this is what I wanted to do. I want to be on some type of broadcast to show what I could do. But but now and I want to watch broadcasts is to also it is a tool to learn because there'd be like some things that that I watch. I'm like, I made a mistake there. I know where I know how I got loose, or I know how I know what I'm doing that's killing my tires. So it is a learning tool. So it kind of see it kind of like a football team, that they have to watch film to prove on, you know, to clean up mistakes from their last game or whatever. And that's what I try to do now for broadcasts is, it's like wherever Jason gets onto me or, puts the camera on me when I make the caution or whatever, I just, I just take note. I just kind of observe and just try like, nope, all right, can't do that again. Just try to get better, Jen. Just try to get better. Keeping the truck underneath me and uh, just learn from there.
Do do you save the replays of the race?
Um, no, no, I don't. I know. I
I
just
ca-
what's on YouTube.
I can tell you, and this is a little insider trade secret here, so don't tell anybody, even though we're
Mhm.
broadcasting this. Save the replays, because
Yeah.
then it's going to have the entire race on there. The great thing about it is you can go into any car's cockpit, which is the
Hmm.
biggest tool. I mean, I live religiously on this. Use
Yeah.
Nate, use Stryker, use John, use all those guys. Daytona doesn't matter. Daytona, you keep it
No.
floored, and you know. But the regular tracks, if
Hmm.
you save the replay and you go back to that race, and you can literally go into the cockpit of Nate, Payne, Phipps, whoever's leading,
Hmm.
whatever, and you can watch when they're lifting. Start taking mental notes of like, okay,
Yeah.
the number one sign here at Indianapolis is when he lifted and he didn't start rolling back into the throttle until this point. I
Hmm.
to me has been a huge improvement. So yeah, give it a shot,
Hmm.
man. I think
Yeah.
you'll dig it, and then you can also watch like a blimp view of just yourself, and
Hmm.
when you're like, man, what happened there, and then you would notice like, oh shit, you know,
Yeah.
it was my fault I came up, or it was his fault he
Hmm.
bounced. I've got door slams so many times, and I'm like, what's this asshole's problem? And then I look and I watch him bounce off
Yeah.
the wall. Obviously,
Hmm.
when you hit the wall, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to ping pong you off of it, or it's
Yeah.
going to suck you into it.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. When it comes to something like that, yeah, this is the only time I like watch the replays. Like, it's like if me and a guy were just racing so hard against each other, kind of, he's like, let's say like if he's not really, let's say if he's like on top, if I'm like on top, he's not giving me an inch on the bottom. And he somehow slam up, hit the top. I have to I have to look at the replays and make sure that if either I drove in the throttle too too early or too soon, and maybe push up hit the wall, or if the guy pushed up hit me wall or hit push up gave me the wall. Uh, so yeah, that's what the only time I use the replay for, is to make sure if that if there is a racing incident, make sure it was my fault or if it was his fault, or we could just get that cleared away.
Let's look at this.
Yep.
All right. So this is our truck standings after however many
Mhm.
weeks.
Yep.
59. I can't remember if that's start
Yeah.
finish. Start 24th, finish 35th. Three laps down. You're sitting in. I don't know why it just has your number there and not. It's weird. Oh, okay. No, so you finished 24th. You started 31st. So I mean
Hmm.
that's over 10. That's 11 positions.
Hmm.
Where are you overall? Let's see where you're at
Uh,
overall.
I think I checked on like around like 35th because I missed a couple races.
36th. So your
36.
driver rating 63. Yeah, you've only done 6 races, and I think we've had 9.
Hmm.
So you've missed 3, which, yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
But your instance, yeah, man, you're catching all the fun stuff. It looks like. So I guess
Hmm.
that's your improvement points to avoid the nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's look at
Yeah.
let's go back and look here. No, I can't. I haven't done the points yet. That's my fault.
Oh. Okay.
I haven't done the points yet for the Cup Series, so I don't know where you finished. I
Hmm.
know I finished 10th, and I got into a ass load of trouble. I could not. It, that Daytona race was. I wasn't a
Hmm.
fan of it. I'm glad I
Yeah.
got a top 10, and that's probably the closest to the top 10 in points I'll have all year. So I'm gonna take it myself.
Yeah.
But moving forward, obviously, stay out of trouble. Look at some of the
Yeah.
replays, sit in some in cars, jump in Discord, socialize with some of these people. Stop being a lone wolf out there, and uh, progress yourself as an individual. And obviously, try to
Hmm.
make as many races as possible. I mean, you pay to race, utilize it as much as you possibly can. Our Super Bowl for racing is coming up in a week from now, so I know I'm
Yeah.
going to be glued to the TV. You're going to be glued to
Hmm.
the TV.
Yeah.
The Daytona
Yeah.
500 is everything anybody could ever dream of.
Yep.
And I think he gave us a lot of insight on who Malcolm is as a person. He's 30 years old, from Amarillo, um, plays with meat. He likes his meat.
Hmm.
Pun intended. It was a joke. Um,
Mhm.
Single bachelor. Do is there any plans in the future for upgrading that rig and going with like an 80/20?
Uh, yeah, there's a process of trying to update your rig. It's because the only thing I've upgraded right now is a new wheel, and which I admit is helping me feel a lot better of how I'm driving the car. Because because I used to use a Logitech, uh, I use both 920 and the G20. So those were good to start out with, but I just needed kind of something that has more of a feel to it. So so this so I'm kind of, it just kind of depends of giving more money and just try to upgrade it whenever I feel like it's possible to.
Oh, and yeah, man, in today's day and age with the economy the way it is,
Mhm.
everybody, maybe not so much you because you don't have the family and kids you got to worry about,
Mhm.
but almost everybody on the planet's living paycheck to paycheck. It is what it is. There's not a lot anybody can do, and like a a good wheel is going to cost you over $1,000. No,
Mhm.
that's maybe being overly dramatic, but it's going to
Mhm.
cost you at least half that. The
Yeah.
pedals, you could spend. I
Mhm.
mean, you can spend $1,000 on every individual part of
Mhm.
a damn rig, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think if I were you and you were getting to the point where you're like, I'm all in on iRacing, I'm gonna do it till the end of time. You might as well
Mhm.
just sit back, save up 2 grand, buy yourself whatever rig your little heart desires,
Yeah.
dedicate a
Mhm.
space to it. Then triples. I can't stress that enough. Unless you get a VR, because Grijalva
Mhm.
uses VR and he's
Yeah.
fast. I don't know
Yeah.
how he does it, but I can't do it. My ass gets sick. I'll
Uh,
throw up on myself.
yeah. Yeah. Same here. I don't know how he does that. That's just crazy.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Jerry used to do that shit too. And
Mhm.
I was like, Jerry, it's buddy, you got monitors, man. Use them.
Yep. Exactly.
And church,
Yeah.
that's church's biggest problem right now too. He has one monitor, and it's when you
Mhm.
got to dedicate buttons to look left, dedicate buttons to look right. Me
Yeah.
personally, I feel like I've gotten good enough that if I had a single monitor, I could depend on the spotter. But in the
Mhm.
same sense, I can't side draft because you don't know how close you
Right.
can get to that person.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
Yeah,
am
that's
curious
true.
over the next couple years or months or whenever you decide to start like really railing toward that goal to see what kind of build you can get. We'll have to do like a second segment so you could just walk us through, what you ended up
Hmm.
going with and, did
Okay.
it improve your driving style? Did it not? And definitely reach out to John Stryker, me,
Hmm.
even Jason over at Signature Esports,
Hmm.
all very knowledgeable people that can educate you and get you the settings that you need. I just before this podcast, I was spending time with
Hmm.
Jason working on my graphics card because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So you got
Uh,
all that going for you.
no, that's pretty simple. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely do get every advice I can because before we go, like iRacing is pretty much like it's like my only experience that gets close to racing because I've never raced before. I've never had racing experience, which is which I know that some people in here might have. So it really plays out to their advantages. So you know, so this is just helping me learn just how racing really is. So so it is, so I just got to take some advice, trying to get a little bit better at some fundamentals. But I think I'll be okay with that.
Do you do you ever get like crazy nervous like in the middle of the race?
Uh, yeah. I'll get anxious during the race. I'll get anxious like before the race starts, and usually it stays with me for about maybe I don't know about 10 laps, and then I'm starting to feel okay. I start to feel settled down about it because like because I now have a lot better trust in the guys who I'm racing with, and and I have a little bit of trust in myself that I'll try to do whatever I can to uh, race them clean and just try to not be like a nuisance or anything.
And one of the big things, like John Stryker and everybody else preaches is race other people how they race you. Granted,
Hmm.
you might be the
Exactly.
asshole in that situation,
Hmm.
but in the same sense, like if you're tired of getting tapped on entry and it's messing
Hmm.
up your line, let the guy around and
Yeah.
let him know what it feels like, and
Yeah.
and rattle that person's cage. That
Hmm.
way, you're not a pushover because obviously you're quiet. No one's going to bat an eye at you when they're running next to you, which is unfortunate. But that's the name of the game. So
Yeah.
like I said, the best advice I can give you, especially right now, is get into Discord and just talk with everybody. And you don't have to talk a
Hmm.
lot, but at least listen to what
Right.
everybody's saying. You know what I mean? And
Right.
throw out your 2 cents from time to time, and they'll be like, "Oh shit,
Hmm.
Hayden's not Hayden says get the hell out of my
Hmm.
way. I'm going to the front, and they'll know what
Hmm.
that's about. And maybe they'll follow you with you. Maybe you'll be
Yeah.
following them, but at the end of the day, guys like Bigger, he's going to be like, "Hey man, back it off a little bit so, you can get
Hmm.
into the corner faster cuz everybody wants to beat everybody on their best day. It's not I want to beat John
Yeah.
every single week, but when John goes
Oh
two
yeah.
laps down due to a fuel strategy mishap,
Hmm.
I don't feel like I won that race over him because
Right.
he was beating me the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This my approach is. Yeah. I just want to beat someone very clean. I don't want to beat them by like bad strategy or just them just getting wrecked out of nowhere. So yeah, that's just my approach. Is I'll definitely rev up someone if they keep getting to me that if you're not gonna race me clean, then I'm not gonna do the same for you because I demand respect too. So if you don't respect me, I don't respect you.
That's yeah, man. I like hearing that because I sitting here thinking about past races. I probably didn't race you as clean as I probably could have, and
Mm.
maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but I know how I am personally, and if I
Mhm.
don't know that person or they're even if they're new to the league, like I wouldn't necessarily cross the line, but I'll push that line a little bit just to see
Yeah.
how that person's going to handle it. And because
Mhm.
if I can't talk to them, how else am I supposed to figure out what they're about? And
Yeah.
you could see people's how people react to different things. And all in all, dude, I think you're doing great. I think if I were you, I would raise the aggression level up. I would
Yeah.
participate a little more in the Discord, especially during the race, unless you're one of those guys that can't have a bunch of talking going on while you're racing. At least do it before the race.
Mhm.
Pick
Yeah.
somebody's brains, ask questions. I mean, you're
Mhm.
a smart enough guy. You could tell the bullshit from somebody genuinely giving you good advice.
Mhm.
With that being said, man, I think this podcast has been informal. I think a lot of people are really going to watch it because, again, no one knows anything about you until now. Do you got
Mhm.
anybody you'd like to thank? Shout outs?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely shout out to John Striker for putting on a very very good league. Very good league. Also, shout out to you for this podcast, and shout out to Jason for at Eastern Tree Sports as he does one hell of a job. I try to keep everybody up, try to keep up with everything that's all craziness, and he's pretty good at what he does. So yeah, this brings a shout out right to the league, and you know, hopefully hopefully make more friends for more years to come.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like you said, making more friends for years to come is a big deal. I think we're all collectively in a big community, and I know we were talking last night about um, that's another thing. Hang out after the race with people, man. But I
Mhm.
think we were talking about all getting together and like going to a Bristol race in September. So if that's something that you'd be interested in doing, and hanging out with a bunch of nobodies, especially John, because I mean, no one likes that guy anyways. And he was talking about bringing poker. If you want to take that old fool's money, by all means, we get that together. I definitely show up to that. And last but not least, as I do on every podcast, we got to recognize all of our sponsors that make this possible for everybody. We got Fuego Paint. I always mess up Joe's goddamn names. Fuego Paints, C2 Gaming, My Three Sons, Track Racer, the Balla Status Boys, Speedy Trophies, Admin Box, Geomax, Virtual Velocity Racing, MCI Graphics. Now we have Stay Tuned Sports, that is our Cup Pole Award, which is awesome. Obviously, this podcast, Chopp'n It Up, is the sponsor. We're sponsoring ourselves, which is awesome, for the Cup Series and
Yep.
Signature Esports. I don't mention Jason much because I feel like I talk to him all the time, and for some reason it doesn't click with me, when I'm doing the broadcast. So Jason, I apologize for all the past broadcasts I didn't mention you. Signature Esports is pretty much our premier broadcasting agent. He does broadcasting over all the platforms. When it comes to iRacing, it doesn't matter if it's trucks, if it's dirt, he'll call it. He's a great partner to have. Thanks again, Hayden. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit here and shoot shit with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And giving us all the insight. I'm your host, Ryan. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, take pictures.
Okay. And also, hey, everybody watching on the league, the 59 is going to be coming right at you out of nowhere.
That a guy. I love it. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.